Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is a Progetto M35 Mod 46. It's a Tier 8 Italian premium medium tank with an auto reloader. It's located on the westbourne of Airfield, and this one is under the command of Chaozboy, or is that Chaozboy? Yes, well, I think it would be the Australian version, which would be Chaozboy, but we don't know. So I'll just have to call him Chaozboy. Okay, game on. 90mm main gun. It's capable of doing 240 alpha, 212mm of pen with standard ammo, and with the premium rounds that goes up to 259. But remember, you can only swap over a full mag. So if you want to go to APCR, you can't just press the button, hope that it switches over, because it's going to take a full reload to actually do that. Now, he's moved up into the centre area, and his teammate's going in behind him. He's decided to go to this position because he might be able to get shots on the enemy. Again, keeping a third-person perspective, so you can actually see the enemy zoom in to get shots. Gets the first hit, second one, and fires the first one before the guy can respond. And that Sherman Jumbo just took 3 hits and lost 729 hit points, and he's having to reload all 3 shells. Now, normally to maximize your output, you need to only load... Oh, it gets the kill. You only need to fire 2 at a time at most, because that way you maximize your reload time. Because the first shell goes in the fastest. Was it the first shell's the longest one? Then there's the second one, then the third one, which is the shortest. So ideally, if you want to fire the third shells only, you stand a much better chance of getting the maximum reload. Okay, he's getting those shells in. He's looking over here because there's a Type 64 over there. Just fired 1 round in, and he did it just at the right moment to get the third shell in. And hello. Whoa, lovely kill. That was a brilliant one, just as the guy went past. Perfect shot. He timed it absolutely to perfection. Okay, so he's got 2 kills now, and he's decided he's going to take a risk and cut across here. Now, there could be somebody generally around about. In fact, he's just spotted enemy tanks going up on the southeast area. And there's a large number of enemy tanks all around this area. In fact, that guy just spotted. He'd been spotted. Can we get the kill? Yes. He does. Nicely done. 3 kills now. Oh, somebody's firing back at him. And I think it might be that M6 over there. But he's going to have 3 shells. He fires the first one in. Gets behind the rock. So he's safe for the moment. Oh, no. Tempted too much. He was baited into firing that shell a little early, but he could still get the kill. He pokes out at the right moment. There. And he gets it. 4 kills. He's having a good game. Now, one of our usuals, Bartholomeus Rexodus, actually was the one who told Chaozboy to send this one in. And look at that young panther sitting up there. Oh, he timed that one to perfection as well. That was a kill steal. That was very smart because he waited until his teammates plumped those rounds in to take him down to a 1-shot, and then he took the kill. But he's going to come up behind this baguette panther, and he's going to finish the guy off, and he's doing it in 3rd person. And wait for the last one. He does a bit of ram. He has to take 1 round. In fact, he's going to probably take another kill on the enemy, but he finishes off the baguette. And now he's got this guy, the Super Hellcat. And he gets the kill on that one too, or did he? No, he didn't. For a second, I thought he had that one too. He's got a Top Gun. He got that after he killed off the baguette. You can see, oh dear, that didn't work out so well. The CS-44 got taken out by the Indian Panzer, who's up near our cap area. So we managed to get across the gap there without being shot at. It was unfortunate. We didn't know the Indian Panzer was behind us whilst we were taking damage when we cut in on the baguette. Now, can he get around this corner? Yes, he can, without getting spotted. Oh! Well, he's there, and we didn't pen the armor there. Managed to get one in. Oh, took one round, though. But he did get the kill. And that's 7 kills now. Well, this is interesting, because now the enemy has basically been herded back into this area. It's like a sheepdog trials. They're actually herding the enemy into a position where they can tear them apart and finish them off. They have a 3-tank advantage, and I sense blood in the water. And Chaozboy, I think he could actually end up getting a Radley Walters out of this one. It's definitely on the cards. Pumps one in. Go for the second. And he gets it. The Lorraine 40 ton goes down. Low armor on that vehicle. But yes, so now he has a Radley's. There's still 3 enemies out there. He could actually get more than the Radley's. Well, there is only a Paul's medal. Oh, he got a fire! He got a fire on the 110. And he didn't get the kill, but oh my god, look. KV2, he didn't get that guy. So he's now got the Juno and the 110. If he wants to get the Paul's medal, he has to take both of these guys. He's got 3 shells ready, so he could take down one of them with 2 shells apiece. Well, didn't get that one. Oh, he did get that. So that's 9 kills now. 1 enemy left. It's the 110, the one he set alight. If he lets this reload and gets 3 shells, that guy's a god. Oh, he didn't! 1 round. Fantastic. What a great game there by Chaozboy. That's a pulse. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for Chaozboy in the Progetto M35 Mod 46. He managed to get a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage, a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in that game. He managed to get 11. He got a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, and a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. He got a Pools medal, yes, named after Lafayette G. Pool. A very interesting guy. If you ever watch a documentary about him, I did the other day, and I was shocked. I was really amazed that this guy, he was exactly like War Daddy. In fact, he was called War Daddy to his troops, and he was just like the Brad Pitt character in the film. One of the best tank commanders in the American forces, or if not the best, actually. I'll wax more about him in a short while. He also got a high caliber for getting the most damage in the game, and a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. Yeah, that was a pretty damn good game. In fact, it was a miracle he got there in the end to get the last kill. I don't know if everybody knew that he was on 9, but I suspect they might have been, and they left it for him. But he did pounce on that guy and take him out with just, well, 1 shot in the right place, and he went out of the game and gave him the Pools medal. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, the highest damage in the game was 4,301 hit points of damage. Chaozboy got it. The second highest damage was the Lorraine 40 ton, who didn't survive more than 2 shells from Chaozboy. And in third place, we can see it was actually the Indian Panzer with 1,859. And yes, he was another of Chaozboy's victims. When it came to kills, he had the highest number of those, 10 kills to Chaozboy. 2 kills went to the 110 and 2 kills to the Jagdpanther on the enemy team. And everyone on Chaozboy's team either got 1 kill or nothing at all. In fact, basically, he put them all to shame because he was absolutely ramming it home on the enemy. And when it came to base XP, yeah, he got that one too. 1,617 base, the only player to get over 1,000 base in the game. The second highest was the CS44, who got 757. And in third place, it was the OI who managed 715. He fired 28 rounds in the game. Well, you actually get 45 rounds capacity, so he still had plenty of rounds left over. He got 22 direct hits on the enemy and 21 penetrations, so only 1 shell failed to do its job properly when it hit the target. And everyone else actually carved its way through the enemy. And he was using standard ammo most of the time. In fact, he loaded standard right from the start. 4,301 hit points of damage, of which 1,445 are at more than 300 meters. 5 hits received from the enemy, and this thing doesn't really have much in the way of armor. In fact, the heaviest armor is on the front of the turret, and that's only 80 millimeters. On the sides, or the front of the hull, is 60 millimeters, 30 on the sides, 20 at the rear. You can see this thing's very, very lightly armored. In fact, it's armored to move fast and have a very big gun, but it's not really armored to protect himself. But he took 5 hits, 4 of which penetrated, 1 non-penetration, must have hit the tracks, or did it bounce off the turret? I think it may have been the tracks hit. He spotted 3 enemy vehicles, damaged 10 of the enemy, killed 10 of the enemy, and got 1,042 hit points of damage assistance. On a premium count, he actually earned 151,045 credits from that game, and yes, he did use standard ammo, because you can see here, he only spent 12,040 on ammo. Yes, that's a huge win for him. And on top of that, he got 5,095 experience points as well, so it's a big game all round. Well, what can I say? Well, War Daddy was quite a character, apparently. He was the very best of all the American tank commanders. In fact, he was the guy they sent for if they had a problem. In fact, he wasn't just an ordinary player, actually, as well. He wasn't just an ordinary soldier. He made his way all the way up to sergeant, and he actually picked the very best crews for his tank. So he had people who actually could do the job, and that's why he was always asked for, because, of course, he was the one who knew how to take the enemy down. But he was also a boxer, of all things, and he was actually a really high-performance boxer. He actually boxed Joe Louis, and he was a bit of a hard nut as well, because apparently before they actually invaded France, whilst they were waiting in Britain and training, Joe Louis did a tour of the army troops, and during one of the demonstration boxes, War Daddy actually, Poole, actually, he deliberately got a big hit on Joe Louis to really upset him. Well, not to upset him, but it made Joe Louis want to really have a go at him. And Joe Louis knew what he was doing, and so did War Daddy. He knew what he was doing as well. He knew that he was enticing Joe Louis to give a demonstration on how good he was. I mean, the thing is, War Daddy was a good boxer, but Joe Louis was on a different scale. And Joe Louis took him to task and literally taught him a lesson. And the thing is that War Daddy knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that he was going to get a real pasting from Joe Louis, but he did it all the same because, of course, he wanted it for the experience. He was a real hard nut. And if you read anything about the story, there is a video about Lafayette Poole. And yes, he did get wounded in the end. In fact, the funny thing was, he got through so many different tanks during the war. Well, after the invasion of Europe, he was getting after tank, and it was actually very funny because he actually had his tank named In the Mood. And I suppose you might say that was after the music, but it was also that they were in the mood for death and destruction. And the thing is that he was the very best, and he expected the best. He went into Europe with a standard Sherman, or standard M4 with a 75mm gun. But his first tank got knocked out. And when it was knocked out, he got a replacement as a 76mm gun. And of course, it wasn't long before that one got knocked out as well. But I mean, the thing was, even whilst he was knocking out the German tanks, and he was knocking out a lot of them, he was knocking down, in fact, he probably holds the record for the most number of tanks knocked out by an American commander, because he was literally devastating the enemy whenever they came across them. And he actually had the best gunner, the best loader, just like in the film Fury. These guys were top notch. They were tearing the enemy apart. But once he actually got one of those 76mm armed tanks and it got knocked out, rather than be sent straight back to use the 75mm again, he deliberately fouled up his own tank by drowning it, literally took it into a river and drowned the tank. And then, of course, they had to give him a new tank, and it was another 76. So, of course, he goes back into battle with another 76. And this time round, he's literally the person that they always call for to actually destroy the enemy. there's one interesting story, and I will go into this right now. So apparently, whilst they were coming across, they came up to a railway line, and a German train, which actually had 4 Tiger tanks on it, which were all basically kitted out for transport, so they were tied down and everything. But they had all the crews there, and they came across this train. They stopped the train, and one by one, he started tearing these Tiger tanks to pieces, one after the other. His crew were just slamming the shells into the side of the Tigers, putting holes in all of them. And the German crews were desperately trying to get the tanks ready to use. At the end of the fray, 4 German Tigers were burning, and he killed them all. His crew had killed them all. And the American officers were trying to work out what sort of medal they could give the guy for taking down 4 Tiger tanks in a row that were all tied up on a train. But that wasn't the only time it ever happened. There's another instance, another incredible story where they got trapped and they couldn't get across this bridge. And they knew that there were German tanks just on the other side of the bridge. In fact, they were Panther tanks, and they were waiting for the Sherman M4s to come up to the bridge and get wiped out because they had ambush positions set up to take them out. Well, War Daddy, they called for him because he'd actually been sent back to the back of the lines because they were going to send him home as a really not as experimental, I suppose it's the wrong word to actually say. No, as a trainer, so that he could train other people how to do what he was doing. But they called him back and said, "We've got another problem. We've got to get rid of these Panthers." And so he looked around the scenery that was overlooking the river, and he saw this hill over in the distance. So he thought, right, I'll just drive my M4 with a 76mm gun up to the top of the hill. He looked down through his binoculars and his viewfinders, and he worked out where one of the Panthers was located, and with his crew, who could fire one round every couple of seconds, they were literally throwing these rounds out like massive rate. Their loader was working far faster than normal loaders. It's like he had a rammer available, but it's just his actual ability. And they worked out where he was, and they fired accurate shots on the Panther until the Panther started reversing to get out of the way of the fire because they thought they were being attacked by an entire battalion, but it was only one tank. And the Panther backed away, and as they backed away, they saw exactly where he was, and then they just finished him off. And then another Panther started doing the same, and so they realized where the Germans were, and eventually, of course, the rest of the M4s were able to get across the bridge, and he did it. Just his single tank was able to defeat an entire regiment, not a regiment, a battalion of German Panthers who was set there to try and take out the Americans. And he actually took them all out with just one tank. Anyway, I can't keep going on about this tank. There is a brilliant, absolutely fantastic video all about Lafayette Pool. I thoroughly recommend it. He actually, after the war, because he survived the war, he did lose his leg during an action. And so he actually had a fake leg. He actually went back to being a teacher in the school, and he used to teach woodwork. And apparently, to really frighten the kids, he'd stick a great huge knife into his leg, into the wooden leg, of course. And the kids would all scream in agony, or scream in fright. But it was just him having a bit of fun with them. And then later on, he actually went back into service as a trainer for the US Army, and was actually teaching people how to use tanks way up into I think it was the end of or start of the 60s. He was still working as a tank commander, or at least as a trainer. But yes, much respected by so many people, and got a huge number of medals for his work. Very interesting story. I'm sorry I've rabbited on so long, but I must recommend it. If I can find the video concerned, I really do recommend you watch it, because it's just so astonishing what this guy actually did. He definitely deserves to have that medal, and so does Chaozboy for that incredible battle there you just saw, which obviously happened ages ago, and I've been rabbiting on it ever since. But yeah, really great battle. It's a pity he didn't get more kills actually in this game, because he certainly had it. He had more than enough hit points at the end of the game to do it. But yeah, great game, and well done. If you enjoyed this replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.